Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova threatens Estonia against the backdrop of large-scale military exercises that will take place in the country from May 5 to 23. Zakharova called on the Estonian government to draw conclusions from the war in Ukraine. She is sure that Estonia is being used for prospective purposes, and is surprised that the government allegedly lacks critical thinking. This is how the Kremlin commented on the international military exercises SIL 2025, which will be held in Estonia from May 5 to 23. The main goal of such exercises is to test NATO units for their ability to respond to various external threats, as well as to practice the mechanism for the prompt arrival of NATO reinforcements. The Kremlin constantly threatens the Baltic States, especially after 2022 and in light of their support for Ukraine. The Baltic states have increased their defense funding and cooperation with other NATO members after 2022. All three countries have already withdrawn from the Convention on the Prohibition of the Production and Use of Anti-Personnel Mines on the Battlefield. In early April, the head of the SVR, Sergei Naryshkin, also threatened Poland and the Baltic states with invasion in the event of a war with NATO. Located on the border with Russia, the Estonian city of Narva could be Russian President Vladimir Putin's ideal spot if he were to plan an invasion. Only a bridge separates the two countries. The population is divided. While some members of the town's Russian-speaking community are nostalgic for their Soviet-era past, others fear Moscow's war ambitions. In view of a potential attack, Estonian civilians are undergoing military training and preparing for all possible outcomes. Chief of the General Staff of the Estonian Defense Forces, Major General Vahur Karus said that Estonia wants to establish a military base in the border city of Narva with Russia, where about 200 to 250 Estonian military personnel and allied units will be stationed. Thus, we will give the city's residents a clear signal about the presence of the Estonian state. Narva residents will be able to get used to the fact that the military is part of their everyday city life, and in a sense, this step will be a demonstration that Narva is an integral part of Estonia, Karus emphasized. He clarified that the Estonians want to create a base where various units will be deployed on a rotational basis. They will carry out combat duty, and then return, for example, to Kyiv or Tapa. The base will house both active military personnel, conscripts, and reservists. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday declared a three-day ceasefire ahead of the upcoming 80th anniversary of the Victory Day. The ceasefire will come into effect on the night of May 8 and will end on the night leading to May 11. Under the ceasefire agreement, Russia will stop military actions and expects Ukraine to do the same. Moscow has also indicated its readiness for negotiations without preconditions. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry responded to Putin's proposal for a ceasefire. Posting on X, Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha stated that if Russia truly wants peace, it must cease fire immediately and not wait until May 8. Ukraine is ready to support a long-term, lasting and complete ceasefire. And this is what we have been constantly proposing, at least for 30 days, Sybiha wrote. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has not yet commented on Putin's proposal. It should be noted that Putin's proposal for a temporary ceasefire came hours after U.S. President Donald Trump said he believed Volodymyr Zelensky was prepared to give up his claim to the Crimean Peninsula as part of a longer-term truce deal. Germany will step up to the new security demands in Europe, President Frank-Walter Steinmeier vowed on Monday, as his country marked 70 years of NATO membership against the background of the Trump administration signaling that U.S. priorities lie elsewhere. Today, with Putin's war against Ukraine raging on in full force and with the United States putting fierce pressure on its European allies, Germany, I think, is in a crucial position, Steinmeier said. Germany is being called on, and we heard the call. We got the message and indeed, Mark, you can count on us, he said, standing alongside NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte at the 32-nation military alliance's Brussels headquarters. According to Associated Press at the same place in February, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told Ukraine's Western backers, most of them NATO members, that stark strategic realities prevent the United States of America from being primarily focused on the security of Europe. Apart from the security challenges the U.S. believes are posed by China, Hegseth said that America would also be focusing on the security of our own borders. His remarks, the first by a member of the new Trump administration at NATO, unsettled Germany and other allies, and many want to know how many U.S. troops might be pulled out of Europe and when so they can fill any security vacuum. No U.S. withdrawal plans have officially been announced. Hegseth also added a warning that Ukraine will not get all its territory back from Russia and will not be allowed to join their security organization, which would provide Kiev with the ultimate security guarantee to ensure that Putin never attacks again. NATO leaders have always insisted that membership should be discussed solely among allies and candidates and that Moscow can have no say, but recently it's become a bargaining chip in talks between the United States, Russia and Ukraine. NATO was formed in 1949 as a bulwark against aggression in Europe by the Soviet Union. Former West Germany sought protection as its 15th member on May 6, 1955, as concern grew about the Soviet army massed east of the Iron Curtain. 70 years on, the threat from Moscow persists and Germany's incoming coalition has ambitious plans to loosen strict debt rules for higher defense spending to help strengthen the country's long-neglected military.
Today, with Putin's war against Ukraine raging on in full force and with the United States putting fierce pressure on its European allies, Germany, I think, is in a crucial position. That's why I speak to you, your allies, not just with gratitude, but with urgency. Germany is being called on, and we heard the call, we got the message, and indeed, Mark, you can count on us. And whole Europe in ruins. We will continue to strengthen our armed forces, the Bundeswehr, and we will step up investments in our defense industry. We will work hard to meet our commitments to NATO's regional plans. We will continue to be Ukraine's strongest supporter in Europe to uphold its freedom and its sovereignty and its European future. And we will strive to make Germany, both its military and its infrastructure, the backbone of conventional defense in Europe.